Sometimes you get lucky and the case of cards that you open up, or even the booster pack, ends up being worth way more than the actual expected value. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Now, with the new Battles of Crystal Revenge set that's been going on, there have been a couple of misprints that have shown up. Some of you might have been familiar with the Yatagarasu that popped up, but as I was kind of looking around, I also saw a Super Poly with no imprinted name on it. Now, I just want to say, full disclaimer here, you know, if you're one of the people that gets one without a name on it, in no impression, the no impression is what makes it so valuable, because there are methods to just simply taking, you know, an ordinary hollow, for example, here, and then just getting rid of said name here. So, I love camera autofocus so much, but yeah, there is a way just to be able to get rid of that, and that's why if it has the imprint, it can very easily be fake. Now, in the world of, you know, oricas and things like that, where, you know, fake cards can show up at all points in time, I understand that might be some skepticism out there, but with how Konami quality control has been going around as of late, expected value only goes up. And this is actually one common thing I want to touch on here with these misprints, because there will always be misprints, such as a common, for example, that might have an ink line going through it, and you've got people out here that shit their pants everywhere, and they're like, oh my god, I just won the lottery, and nobody wants to pay more than like maybe $2 for a 10-cent common. All right, now when you start getting into your higher end, you know, particular misprints here, where you have a Starlight Rare with no imprint, no name, the $300, $200 card, whatever it ends up being in terms of value, people, those collectors out there, they're going to spin around, they're going to look at that card, and they're going to go, huh, you know, pay you $700. Some people maybe upwards to $1,000 for this particular thing, and that's kind of where the grails start to happen. And I think a lot more people will lose their minds a little bit more when it comes to seeing these particular things. Is, you know, people think that misprints can be a bad thing in the community. Well, I agree. Sometimes yes and no, but I think blessings like this, aka I just won the frickin' lottery, and I turned, you know, my $300 card into the potential upward spin of something else, and you're sitting here, you're like, wait a minute, Robbie, you're telling me that misprints are worth something? Yes, there's an entire misprint community within this community, just like there's people out there that pay really good money for PSA 10s. I've talked a little bit about the PSA 10 market, and how people are like, I don't understand, like, I mean, look, man, there will always be, there's the whole community, all Yu-Gi-Oh players encompassing in one sphere, and there will always be subsections of said community. You will always have slab communities. Look at Pokemon, for example. A PSA something is going to be worth more than, you know, something else of particular value. So as more and more quality control issues, I guess, seem to rise up. Oh, I should also probably show this Exodia piece that I also saw making its way around the misprint community earlier. So that's a Yatagarasu, a super polymerization, and none other than an Exodia piece. So that's 3 cards here that are circulating around the community, and people are going to be looking at this going, oh, you know, I don't want to open this set. Well, as per any set and any, you know, Konami quality product as of late, you will always have a chance to pull something of value. Sometimes unexpected things happen, and these misprints drop into the market, and then if you find the right person, you can get more money for it. But the moral of this video is I wanted to show that Konami quality control still is Konami quality control at the end of the day. I wanted to point out that while these particulars are happening, don't be upset if you pull something like a no-name, for example. You know, I hate to tell you this, but a couple of minutes of research, oh no, work, a couple of minutes of trying to educate yourself on, you know, like, oh, you know, maybe like this is actually insane value, like, you know, maybe I can do something with this to turn this around. And, you know, doing that couple minutes of research when you run into a situation like this or see something like this, definitely can save the day, that's for sure. So it always comes down to these sorts of things in the community. One, people will always tend to look at something like this and be like, it's not worth it, get rid of it. There will actually be people out there that'll look at something like this and they'll go to Konami and they'll have an entire crying fit. You know, people will actually be genuinely... this is one part I find funny about these kinds of misprints. You know, people that'll be so upset that they pulled super polymerization like this. They'll be like, oh, I just wanted a correct super polymerization. This is ridiculous. Like, how could Konami screw me over like that? And you're sitting here and you're just like, you just pulled potentially triple your money. You can use that to turn it into, you know, potentially 2, 3, you know, Starlight super polymerizations, and you know, you have so and so just sitting here going, Konami screws me over all the time, like, this is ridiculous. Like, it's that kind of shit in this game that always gives me a hilarious laugh, and I tend to never understand, like, the mentality and mindsets that people go through with these types of things. You know, like, I understand that if you pull a card that's literally bent in half, I mean, look how many misprinted commons we've had. Look how many commons we've had come straight out of the past with, like, bent corners. Now, stuff like that, I am for being upset. But if it's something like a factory defect that creates value on the card, do I dare say it? Don't be stupid. All right, do some investigation for it. Maybe you can toss it up on eBay. The big thing out of all of this is, yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of work, but, you know, if you literally pulled the golden ticket at the end of the day, I don't know why you'd be upset about it. So, in other news, Konami Quality Control still maintains what Konami Quality Control is. Ever since that they've switched manufacturing plants, I mean, the card quality has gone down. Misprints, I mean, they do happen. It's just those heavy misprint packs. You guys remember the Grand Creators thing, where that whole giant, you know, crapshoot came out, where people were like, oh my god, like, what's going on here? You know, we opened up all those crazy CR packs. Nothing like that has happened. But misprints do look like that they'll continue to start doing their thing. One other interesting side note about this: the fact that these haven't been in large quantities. I've only seen 3 of these so far. And like I said, they've been on Ayata. They've been on, you know, pretty much a majority of, you know, Yatagarasu, and Exodia's only 1 limb. Considering that fact, I would actually like to see if other pieces are running around. If there is a possibility of seeing, you know, something crazy like that, I think that would actually be really cool. But as time goes on, we'll have to wait and see. So, what cool misprints have you seen as of late? You know, ever since, I guess, we switched to the manufacturers, I haven't seen a lot of crazy stuff. Mavens, I mean, with the ultra secret rares and things like that, you know, the NA printers being on, you know, the, what's it called, secret rare printing. We didn't see any, like, misprint ultras or things like that show up, so that was a little bit disappointing in that. I mean, you'll still have, like, name shifts and things. That's another thing. Name shifts versus no names versus no name imprints. Remember, name shifts, this is something else, too, that really kind of irks me. There'll be people out here that will get, you know, a card that the name shift is, like, crazy. Obviously, I'd put that worth more. But if you have somebody with a name shift that's literally minuscule that much, they had to get out a ruler, you know, measure the angle in which that it would be shifted. There are people out there that'll go crazy, be like, it's slightly misprinted. It's like, no, it's not slightly misprinted. It's a wee little bit to the left. I couldn't notice unless I was underneath a telescope noticing that, all right? I'm not going to pay you an extra $300 for your quote-unquote misprint, all right? It's self-diagnosing all over again, but with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which is kind of crazy to me. It is definitely something. So, but alas, what do you think about these really, really cool no-names circulating around the internet? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. And of course, I do want to open up the discussion to anything that you have seen that has been a relatively cool misprint as well. I would love the chance to own one of these, but I don't want to, you know, I don't want to trade $1 million for them. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons. ya!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.